right, so now we're going to take a peek at dividing a rational expression by a polynomial. Now this looks very difficult at first, but when you go ahead and take a peek at it, it's actually the same thing that you've been doing. So this problem is 6x squared plus x minus 15 over 4x squared. It is divided by this polynomial of 3x squared plus 5x. Now, think all the way back to when you learned fractions, and I gave you 5. 5 is equivalent to 5 over 1, correct? Hopefully you're all thinking, yeah, duh, in your brain. So 3x squared plus 5x is actually the same thing as 3x squared plus 5x over 1, which means that all I have to do in order to change it to a multiplication problem is make it 1 over 3x squared plus 5x, and now it looks just like the rest of the problems we've done. So, correct? Yes, it is. And it is that easy. It just looks more difficult because it's not built as a fraction. So, we are going to go ahead and do that. Hopefully by now you are starting to look at what our excluded numbers are. What I mean by the excluded numbers are the ones that make it undefined. That would be this piece, and this piece. So, before we even get started, you could probably look at this problem and start pulling out where you're going to find them. Well, you're going to find them in the 4x squareds, the 3x squared plus 5x, and then that one, that's actually irrelevant in this one because it only matters when you've got a variable in there, so if you have an x in there. So, we will solve the problem, but you know that those are going to be the 3 points of contact of what makes the polynomial undefined, and that we will have to take a peek at the end. So let's go ahead and rewrite that first piece, 6x squared plus x minus 15 over 4x squared, and it's going to be multiplied by 1 over 3x squared plus 5x. We multiplied by the reciprocal. So now we need to go ahead and factor. Now, that first piece is kind of gross. You may have to use the box method, but so let's take a peek. What's going to make something negative 15 when you have a 6x squared there? In order to get a singular x, that's what we're going to have a goal for. So let's try out a 3x and a 2x. And we'll go with the 5, a plus 5, and a minus 3, because you do need a negative. So we'll try that out and see if it works. So that's 10x and negative 9x, and that gives me what I need. So that turns to 3x plus 5 and 2x minus 3. This is definitely one of the harder factoring problems. And then we have 4x squared. And then 1, and we can only pull out an x, so we've got x and 3x plus 5. See what we can cancel out. We can cancel out a 3x plus 5. And that's it. We've got a 2x minus 3 on the top. And a 4x cubed, because we have x squared and an x on the bottom. However, we do need to write what x cannot be. X can't equal what? Well, if you look, x cannot equal 0, because you got that right there. And x cannot equal a negative 5 over 3. How did I get that? Well, 3x plus 5. I set that equal to 0. Subtract 5. That 3x equals negative 5. Divide by 3, and there's your negative 5 over 3. And there is your answer.